this blue line that you can see on this picture. So this is for team officials going straight from the parking to the arena. The other possibility for team officials is that you can go to the quarantine to be with your athletes. Then when you want to go to the arena, what you will do is you will go to the backdrop. There you will meet an official who will be able to guide you how to get to the arena. So this is for team officials. After you have sent your runners to the terrain, then you can go to the backdrop, and from there you will get information how you will get to the arena. We need to find a way to flip the slide. So sorry for this. Can we anyhow find the next slide, please? Thank you. So this is once more the picture that you know from the bulletin number 4, but there is a small change that we would like to draw your attention to, since you can now see that the GPS is actually handed out before you go into the box called -5. So those of your athletes who needs to carry a GPS, they will get the GPS before they go into the -5 at the pre-start. So the only thing that happens at -5 is the call-up, and then when you've been called up, then you walk the 105 meters to -4. And the other thing you can see from this slide is that the SIAC test will happen in the -4, where you also do the clear and the check of your SI card. So these are the changes we have made in the start procedure compared to what you can see in the bulletin number 4. Special features. We have been asked to clarify a few special features. This is already in the bulletin number 4. So this is just to clarify that if there is a railing and stairs that is allowed to pass, then you can see on the map example how this is drawn. Another thing which has been asked is that if you have a very low barrier in a stairs, like you can see in the picture, then this barrier will not be shown in the map at all. So that's the example. You can see that this low barrier that can easily be crossed is not shown on the map. The next thing is if you have stairs right on the side of a street, which means you can easily go from the stairs to the street and back, then it will be shown, as you can see on the map, to the left. And you can see the picture to the right. And some examples of barriers that the athlete may see in the terrain which is not mapped. You can see that these barriers can easily be passed by the athletes, so this is why they will not be in the map. And if we have forbidden areas, this is a question that has been asked by several teams, like the olive green that you can see to the right, where there is a risk that the olive green can be difficult to see, or if it's difficult to see the edge of the olive green, then this area will be taped with yellow and black tape. And now we get to the questions and answers, and we will take the questions and answers one by one, and then when we have taken all of them, then there will be a chance to ask additional questions if you feel the answers have not been answered properly. So the first question is, could you show how the special features on page 29 are mapped? And those are the exact slides that we showed just before, that we put now the map examples in the slides. So the answer is yes, we did show this in the previous pages. The next question is, will the maps be put in plastic bags? And the answer is yes. And to this question, we also got a question from the model event saying that they saw examples of white lines after running in the model event. And we believe that this is not going to happen in this area, in this competition, because you will have the maps properly in plastic bags. Question number 3. At model event sprint, there were some gates on top of a stair that was closed. Will this happen in the competition? And the answer is, if gates are shown on the map as possible, they will be possible. Question number 4. Can teams put their team tents in the quarantine? Yes, they can, but also the organizer believes that we will provide enough shelter there. Which model event map is used, attached map from JWOC, Instagram, or the model event map? And all we can say is that the model event map is a new map. And then we have a question, is it really only water at refreshment stations? And the answer is, there are no refreshment stations in the sprint, so we assume this question is related to the forest distances, and we will share information about the forest distances in the team officials meeting for this. So we would like to give priority in this team officials meeting to the sprint. Question number 7, and now we are referring to the model event area. East of control 112, there is 506 small unpaved footpath or track with 520 area that shall not be entered underneath. Is it allowed to run on the footpath? And we got this question several times, so we only answer it once. And the answer is, there is no situation like this in the sprint competition map tomorrow. One more question, we believe, is about the forest distances. At Sumakhoi training, there were a lot of dogs in parts of the forest. Will there be the same in middle and long relay? And the answer is, we assume this question is related to the forest races. Information about this will be given at forest distance team officials meetings. This is simply because we do not want to open the discussion about the forest distances in this meeting. We believe it will be too long a meeting if we did so. Question number 9, northeast of control 104, and now we are still in the model event map. There's a very small area of 520 area that shall not be entered. Will it be marked on the terrain when the area is barely visible on the map? The answer is yes. In that kind of situations, there will be tape in the terrain. Question number 10, are there dashed line paths going through Olive? And this is the same answer that we did in number 7. Question number 11, are coaches allowed to walk directly to the arena from the car park? Yes, it's already explained in a previous slide. Will there be artificial barriers? If yes, how will they look like? And the answer is, the map is drawn according to ICEPROM 2019. Question 13, is it possible to know the code number of last controls? Is it 100? And the answer is, you will see in the control descriptions. Question number 14, is there a road crossing before the spectator control? If yes, how is it organized and drawn on the map? And we give no additional information about this. Question number 15, another topic you should precise, can coaches walk from quarantine to finish area? Is it marked? And we gave the answer to this question earlier in the presentation. Question 16, Olive instead of wall signature, same at competition map? And the answer is, yes, it's the same standard with the model event compared to the competition map, sorry. Question 17, permitted and forbidden walls, no difference in visibility according to the question. What's approach view on the map maker? And the approach that we would like to share is that according to our conviction, the map is drawn according to ICECROM 2019. Question 18, GPS devices without map features allowed. And now we are talking about the watches that the athletes will run with. And the answer is no. We refer to the IOF rules number 21.5, which clearly states that this is not allowed. Question 19, what's a method transport feature of GPS devices for GPS tracking? And the answer is, we do recommend those of you who have athletes who are selected for GPS tracking that you bring your own vest. If you don't have a vest, the organizer will provide you with a vest when you get to the quarantine. Question number 20, is there a map flip needed? The answer is no. Question number 21, is quarantine outdoor or indoor? And the question is, you will see at the competition. Question 22, will potentially passable walls, hedges, fences on the terrain, but impassable on the map, be symbolized on the terrain with tapes? And we hope we understood this question right, so we say no. If it's possible, then it's not shown with tape. But maybe you would like to clarify your question if you feel this question is not answered properly when we have been through the last questions.
I think the intention of this question is when it looks in the terrain like it's possible, but it's not possible. How it's shown in the terrain.
Okay, we had a clarifying question from the room here, and the clarification is that if it's mapped as not possible in the map and it looks possible, will it then be taped? And then the answer is yes, then it will be taped. Last question is number 23. Will there be artificial barriers for the race? What percentage of the race before and after the spectator passage? And the first question we already answered earlier by referring to the ICECROM. And what percentage of the race before and after the spectator passage? No answer. So these were the questions that we received, and maybe you need some clarification. Maybe you have some additional questions. So please feel free to ask. And the screen I cannot see a raise hand function for the Zoom. So I guess that we will first ask in the room here if there are any questions, and then afterwards we will ask those of you who are on Zoom to actually ask a question. But we will take questions first here from the room here in Goethe University. And we have one from Austria.
Okay, I have a question about this last question. Okay, it doesn't matter if you have somebody else or I understand why you say no one. But the country is saying how looks it doesn't matter if you have or not. Maybe you take, maybe you use the same fence how now in opening ceremony. But I think it's normal in the higher competition for the organizers say how looks is artificial.
Okay, the question here from Austria is about if there are artificial barriers.
No, my answer wasn't if they are. My answer was how looks.
Yes, but if they are there, you ask how it looks. Sorry, I didn't get to the final part of my sentence. So you said if there are artificial barriers, you would like to know what they look like. And what we just stated is that the fences will be the type of fence that you will also find in the ICECROM 2019. So if there are artificial barriers, then you can be sure that these barriers are shown in exactly the same way as a fence would be shown in the ICECROM 2019. I hope this kind of clarified the answer.
I think the question may have been, what do they look like in the terrain if they exist? Or is it like a matter barrier? Maybe wrong, that's the cultural question. So
Yeah, the question is if it's going to be a metal barrier or something like that. And what we are saying is that if there is a metal fence or whatever kind of fence that we have made for artificial barrier, then in that case, it will be drawn according to the norm, which means that if, for example, looks like a metal fence, then the metal fence would be shown with the same signature that you would use for any other metal fence in the ASCON 2019.
Also whether, sorry. I ask whether tomorrow's car parking will be signposted better than today's was.
The question is if the, yeah, you got the question. So I'm just looking around here. How will the car park be signposted tomorrow? Okay, so this is a very big public car park, and we think that you will be able to find the car park from the Google map. We will do what we can to make clear markers for it. And we, of course, have reserved car parking for your cars there. And maybe that's the best we can answer, that we will do what we can to make clear markers for the parking. But we also recommend that you look at the information you got in the bulletin and in the Google map to help find your way to the parking. I hope this clarifies the question as much as we can.
Sorry.
Okay, we have one more question.
Sorry, somewhere in the bulletin it talks about traffic control during the sprint, in other words, stopping traffic on the streets. Or can you just elaborate a little bit on that? To what extent traffic is being stopped, or are the streets being closed for the runners in the sprint?
So I'm asking the podium here, is anyone here prepared to give any additional answer to this? Is this something we should discuss in the group here before we answer, or any points of view? I'm looking at the people here at the stage. So I think the answer we can give is that what we've written in the bulletin, that we have done what we believe is required to make sure that there will not be traffic in the terrain. That's, I guess, what you can read from the bulletin. And from what I hear is difficult to get more information than what we have done, what we believe is necessary to make sure that we will have a fair competition. Okay, so now we have some questions in the chat. So I will read the questions in the chat, and then we will see who can give answers. So the first question from chat, and now we know Sweden is present. Thank you, Kalle, for that. Will the runners get face masks after passing the finish line? The answer is yes, the runners will get face masks after passing the finish line. The next question, have you tried to fold and wrinkle the mat with plastic to assure no white stripes appear? So now I'm looking at someone here if we have any answer for this. I guess the real question here is if we have a fear that the mat will get white stripes even though it's in a plastic bag. So I think I'm looking to see if anyone has some additional remarks about this. Well, sorry, I'll just have to refer to the colleagues on stage here before we get an answer. So I'll just switch off the microphone for a short while and we'll get back very soon. So now we discuss the question, and the answer is that we believe that the map is tested properly. Do we have more questions? I think there may be more questions in the chat. So the question is from one of the teams, in this case Denmark, that are not present here. We have not yet received the SIACs. Will we get them today? And what is the procedure for the teams that are not present here to get their SIACs? Okay, so the answer is that the organizer will bring this material to the hotel if you are staying in an official hotel where the organizer knows where you're staying. If you are not staying in one of the official hotels, then you must send a message to the event office to tell exactly where you're staying, and then the organizer will get in touch with you how to deliver this material. I have some additional information, sorry. Okay, some teams have already sent the information about where they're staying, so only if you have not provided this information, please send an email so the organizer will know where to deliver this material. And I think it's been asked by several countries, but I guess the answer is the same for all of you. And maybe we should clarify that this is not only the SIACs, this will also be the bit numbers that you will have delivered. And I can see from the chat that you have several countries who have asked this question, but we have answered these questions for all teams. And we have a question about, we just got one SIAC per person, and that is correct. There was made a decision that each athlete will only need one SIAC in the competition. So the question is, will it be the same paper quality in the competition as it was for the model event, for the map? And the answer is yes. And these were the questions that we had from the chat. So now we are looking back in the room to see if there are additional questions. And we do have one question from France. Do we still have the microphone? Otherwise, I will listen to your question and repeat the question as much as I can. The question is, where and when can we get the list of the athletes that are going to run with GPS tracking? Okay, we plan to publish this list in approximately half an hour from now, which is approximately 8:30. So that you will know tonight from the list that we will publish, probably in Inventor, I believe, about who is doing the GPS, and then you will get the information from there. Okay, any additional questions in the room or in the chat? The answer, there's a question if you will send the presentation, and I think the answer is yes. We need to update with those additional questions that you have asked here to the best of our ability. And when we have done that, we will put a presentation with all the questions and answers and what you have just seen in the Inventor and also in the JWOC website. Any further questions or comments? If not, then once again, we would like to warmly welcome you here to the Steenbok and wish you all of the best tomorrow. Thank you very much for coming here.